Hey everybody, this is Guru Ameen. I'm here with my client and friend Michael Moses. We just got done doing the Arnold Classic Amateur. Today is Saturday evening. The show was yesterday morning. Both prejudging and finals were all in one. And he came from Australia to compete in Columbus, Ohio this weekend. And we're going to let him tell you a little bit about this weekend and a little bit about the final week's prep and the year prep in general, and just talk about what gains you made. So, everybody, just you want to say hi to everybody, whoever's going to watch this?
Hey.
Okay. Hey, you want to tell them just basically how old you are, how tall you are, and what class you're competing in?
I am 30-year-old. When I first came to Ameen, I was 29, so it was about a year ago. I'm 6'3". Off season usually hovering around 250, 245, and the contest cut-off point is 242 for my division. For the competition, I weighed in at 223, I think, on the day of the actual stage, but for weigh-in, it was more like 230.
Right. And last year you competed also in Australia in the Arnold Australia.
Yeah.
And you did a show the week before that, and we spoke the week before the Arnold. No, we spoke after the first show, or before?
So I got in contact with you before. So it was the Victorian IFBB Championships, which is the qualifier for the Australian Arnold Classic.
Right. And
I got in contact with you prior for the off-season training. Right. But my mentality before that was that I was going to do them two competitions myself. And then afterwards, I was going to then start the off-season with yourself. But after coming second in the Victorians, I thought, okay, I'll get in contact with Ameen early because we might have a fight for the Arnold Classic Australia.
I think it was 2 weeks.
It was 2 weeks before.
It was 2 weeks because the whole Hell Week thing is like 10 days.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I think last time I told you basically what it was about. Had you heard about it before that, or was that
It's just like King Kamali. I mean, I seen it online, and I honestly thought it wasn't going to be that bad because I remember talking to you saying, "Look, Mick, I don't know who you are, I don't know how you train, your mentality, I don't know whether you're being good enough on your diet, whether you're being strict enough." I mean, you didn't even know what my genetics were like or anything. And then he's some guy coming to you saying, "Just put us in Hell Week." And I think you had reservations to begin with, and I thought, "No, come on, just throw us in at the deep end, and let's see if I can do it. And if I fail, I fail."
That's why I did, but you basically were like, I'm going to do it. What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
You're not going to hold it against me.
Yeah.
So it's okay. Well, if you're not going to hold it against me, and we'll do the best we can. And what did I start off asking you to do for the whole thing?
Legs.
But you were already eating carbs. Diet. You were eating carbs or not?
Yeah. At that point, I was pretty low on carbs. So yeah, I was already pretty low, so that was okay. You started introducing like the high sodium load. Okay. It was more, I was only used to training at the time, like maybe an hour in the morning, an hour in the night. And then all of a sudden you said, okay, go and train legs for 4 hours. It's something ridiculous. It was 900.
You remember the reps, yeah.
Oh, I'll never forget the reps.
It
was
hard.
900 reps on quads and 600 reps on hamstrings. And your exact words were, don't leave the gym until the job's done.
Right, and I asked you to do cardio first.
Yeah, it was 45 minutes of cardio as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was brutal, and you went through it. I still remember, because I asked you to contact me after you were done. You did go to sleep for a while.
Well, actually, what happened was I trained, and we live right across the road from the gym. So I got home, and I was just about to have my meal, and then I don't know what happened, but I woke up and my food was all over the floor. So I assumed I passed out. And then I only woke up because my wife came home and it was the banging of the door when she closed the door. That's what woke us up out of this state of a coma. So, and then I had to eat the food that was on the floor because I needed to get the food in.
Oh,
so it was pretty bad.
I'm sorry, I didn't know you went through that. That's bad. I remember. I just thought you fell asleep. I was wondering what happened.
Yeah.
And I remember, and I guess you said you passed out, but I didn't know all that happened.
Yeah.
And so then basically we completed the whole body, and then we started the reloading phase.
Yeah.
And I asked you to use potassium chloride.
Yeah.
And you live in Australia, so they didn't have the no salt, or you didn't have the slow cane or anything like that. But you got some stuff. You got some potassium chloride, which was really, really strong, stronger than even the new salt. And it was straight. There's no filler or anything in it. Like with the no salt, there's a couple of things to make it like somewhat palatable. But this was raw potassium chloride, and we started loading onto potassium. And then we did some diuretics, and as we were carving up, and then how did you look at that? How did you think you looked at that show compared to the one before?
Well, for the first 3 days before, because I already, as we said, we didn't really know what we were walking into. You didn't know who I was. I kind of knew who you were. So I honestly thought for the 3 days prior to the competition, shit, I maybe shouldn't have done this. Because I looked terrible.
Right, which you were supposed to.
Yeah, but the mentality coming out of the Victorians and then winning the Victorians
so drastically.
Yeah, and I thought I'm not going to recover from this. I'm going to look worse and worse and worse. There's no way I can get back. And then all of a sudden I woke up. It was the day of the Arnold Classic, the morning of, and I got out of bed and I went, "What the hell?" Like I went from looking like a deflated fat guy to a really full, ripped guy in the space of maybe an 8-hour sleep.
Yeah.
And I assume it's because of the potassium in the water and everything.
It all just comes together at a certain time. Yeah.
And then from then, that was it. I was like, okay, we've got to do off season because what you were able to do during that was just crazy in 8 hours.
And what did you weigh at that show?
Approximately about 205 pounds.
205, 6'3", 205, and this is classic physique.
This is
That's
it
still needs a lot of work.
Yeah.
And at this point, you've been training for years, though. I mean, it wasn't like you'd just started bodybuilding. You've been bodybuilding for how many years prior to this?
I started training in the gym at 14-year-olds.
More than that.
Yeah.
Over 15, 16 years.
Yeah.
So, and at about what point did you decide that you were going to use enhancement stuff? I believe I was 17-year-old. 17.
Yeah, but I didn't know what I was doing. So
and you were also in the UK.
Yeah. So in the UK, everything's legal. It's not frowned upon. You can go up to
possession's legal.
Possession that you just can't sell. That's all.
So,
but I mean, you can go up to a police officer, show him, and they'll go, "Okay, it's a good cycle."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, not that you would.
No,
that's interesting.
Yeah, but Tony Freeman, it was more of a. It was like a random thought process where I thought, okay, if I get in contact with him, he would be able to help me get healthier.
Because you're tall.
Yeah. It would do it as healthy as possible because he's a 6'3", 6'2" guy. So he taught us loads about nutrition, about the herbology side of things, the naturopath side of things, different principles of training and things like that. Yeah.
Very knowledgeable.
It was just
healthy.
Oh, look at the guy,
It doesn't look like some of these people are getting sick from this stuff. You didn't know.
And I was growing, but I was still looking at other guys in the gym, and I'm thinking, but I train harder than these guys, and I'm still not getting as big as these guys.
Right.
So then I thought, right, okay, maybe I've either got really shitty genetics, which I don't think I have, because I'm looking at my family, and all my family are very sporty, or there's something which I'm lacking. Well, I've been to university, I'm educated, I've acquired the information from other gurus such as Tony Freeman and Eddie Elwood, so I don't think it's a lack of education.
It wasn't gear either, because you'd already taken gear.
Correct, yeah, but it was how to take the gear. It was in what doses. It was timing of. So I thought, okay, I need to ask someone who was in a position where they actually know the chemistry side of things.
Up until that point, what was like the most you've ever taken gear wise?
Well, when I was self-experimenting, maybe 1.25 grams of test.
And you know it was real because it was farmer grade?
No, that was...
it was UGL?
That was UGL, yeah.
Okay, so do you know, what was the most real farmer grade stuff you ever took?
It would have been...
You told me you took real.
Yeah, it would have been back in England.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that would have been maybe 500.
Sustenance?
Yeah.
2 amps a week?
Yeah.
Or tested?
It was the snack caps, yeah.
Was it just the test and ante, or was it sustenance?
Sus. Yeah.
Very popular. And did you do Deca with that?
Yes. Yeah.
Was it real Deca durable?
Yeah, the brown little snack caps. Yeah.
The name brand?
Yeah.
Do you think you made better results back in the UK when you were on?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. But that also could have been because I was fresh, I was a newbie, you know, everything was highly receptible, and as you get older, you lose that sensitivity.
But you're not that old.
Well, I'm not that old, and I've proven, obviously, that's bullshit anyway, because the last year I put on more weight in the last year than what I have.
True.
Yeah, so.
And you, what was the average amount before you met me of like UGL stuff you were taking?
Well, after I experimented with the high doses, I just stayed around 600-700 milligram of test. That could be mixed into different esters. Deca would be slightly lower than that, maybe it's 500. Bold, similar. And then, yeah, I would rotate orals. I would never go into quitting drugs, so I would never go into things like Winstrol or Pambrun and Mastron because I had no ambition to compete.
Okay.
So I was just doing that, but I was of the old school mentality where, you know, when you come off all the drugs, off all the steroids, that you go into PCT or you just completely go off.
Right.
So with Eddie, for example, he would have you do a 12-week cycle, and then he would just get you to come off. So you would crash. So you would end up losing like 6, 7, 8 weeks in training, and then it takes you 4 weeks to get back. When you go back in the game, so you're constantly chasing what you've lost.
Right.
And then, so I didn't agree with that. And then Tony Freeman, he had me do, you know, maybe 8 weeks on, and then you do maybe 4 weeks PCT, and then 8 weeks on, 4 weeks. Again, I felt like I was going up, and then I was coming back down, and then I was just regaining. I was sort of holding. I'd never necessarily lose, but I wasn't ever excelling because I wasn't ever on compounds long enough. And then with yourself, what you do is what I always believed to be true, but I just needed someone to consolidate that information and actually tell us that it's correct. And it's rotating. So you take into account the half-lives, you take into account the degradation and your desensitivity to the receptor site, and that usually happens. I mean, if you ask most guys, when is it that when they get the best gains? And they go, oh, 2 to 4 weeks, 2 to 6 weeks. Right. Well, if you switch your drug onto something else, then you're going to keep on gaining off something else that allows your receptor site to down-regulate or upregulate, and then you move on to something else.
If you use the right dose.
Correct, yeah. So I needed you basically to... I kind of, as I said, I did already know it, but I didn't know how to apply it. And it was reassuring knowing someone in your position that you had the same thought process as me. I think with Tony Freeman, he's a friend of mine, but he's a genetic god, you know. At the end of the day, I'm not Tony Freeman, so I need his education.
I felt that way when I know it seems funny because I'm so much shorter than you guys, but I felt that way when I met him too. I'm like, I'm not this guy, like, you know, and a couple other guys that I helped, because he was one of the very first 5, you know, like bigger names that I helped. And he responded so well. He tore his pack. That's how big and strong he got in such a short period of time. And the stuff that I had applied to him, and no one had responded that well from it. So, you know, when I was doing the same stuff on myself, where it all started from, I thought I had something incredible. Like, man, I could do this. I could beat everybody because I've got some winning formula that they don't have. Then I started sharing that formula with other people, and I realized that it works better on everybody. And it worked great on me, but it works better on... Yeah. And that's when genetics came in. You can see what it did. What was it like to go from someone who's an IFBB pro to someone who isn't? I know there's a lot of pros and cons to that, but for you, how was that?
Fine. It was an easy transition because I don't look at someone based on what their attributes are. Or, I mean, put it this way: you've got the fastest man in the world, who's Usain Bolt. Who are you going to go to? You're going to go to the guy who's the fastest man in the world, or you're going to go to the guy who put the guy in the position to be the fastest guy in the world? And I kept on noticing your name was kept on popping up every time I was searching these different people. So I thought, right, well, if I find out the guy who's able to put Tony Freeman in that position, or King Kamali, or all these different guys around here, then by default, I'm going to absorb all that information, because I've got mates, and I've got associations to different IFBB pros or NABA pros, and a lot of them, they don't really know what they're doing, because they're just genetically better.
They know what's great for them, or someone helps them.
Or someone helps them, yeah. And it's one of those monkey says, monkey does situations. It's easy to train a grunt in the army because they just listen when you shout at them. But it's the army general. That's the guy you need to ask the questions to. So I came to you not based on the fact that you're not an IFBB pro. That was irrelevant. Dave Blum was not an IFBB pro.
But speaking of that, though, after working with Tony, you get a lot of knowledge from Tony, and a lot of knowledge that other people don't give. So there's some things that I'm giving you that he didn't give you, but there's also a lot of things that he tells people that they don't get from your average guy.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other really big names out there. I mean, if I'm not, if I'm looking from your perspective, I would be thinking Chris Aceto. Personally, if I was to hire a coach myself, because I can't do it myself though, I would probably want to contact him. I mean, he's got a phenomenal track record, and just to hear what he has to say, or some of the other guys, especially because I think they're more accessible. So why me? Just curious.
Tony Freeman. Yeah, I mean,
good call. Good answer.
Me and Tony, we became mates, and he always spoke highly of you. So obviously you're gonna listen to your mate. I don't know Chris Aceto. Obviously, yes, his track record's fantastic. And
Tony never worked with Chris.
No,
that I know of. He worked with George. He worked with Dave. But I don't know if he ever worked with Chris.
So prior to, don't get us wrong. At some point, I was saying, okay, do I go to Dave Plumbo? Do I go to Chris Aceto? I can go to Neil Yoda Young, because he's a British guy. Maybe I'll maybe click with him a little bit better. But then I thought, you can't beat first person recommendation. And if Tony Freeman's a recommendation to you, then why would I not listen to him? The way that I see a coach is that, and I'm a coach, so it's one of my pet hates as well, is that if you're going to learn anything of any quality or any value, you're going to give it 3 years. I.e., you go to university, you do a degree, it takes 3 years. So why would I invest 3 years in the wrong direction when I know for damn sure that I'm going to invest 3 years in the right direction if I've got a recommendation from a guy who I trust?
And actually, when you think about it, there starts to become philosophies or ideas that stick with people. I think I'm being known for my alternating orals. This worked really well for us too. 2 days of one oral, usually an androgen, 2 days of another oral, most likely Anavar, and rotating this and usually taking a day off of orals and shots once a week. We did some things that I know were different. That was one of them.
Yeah.
Taking a day off a week was one. Nutritionally, we added hemp seeds. That was a really big plus for you. I know that
in the digestive system.
All in all, the fats and everything. We did more fats too, more essential fats, omega-3s, fatty acids, hemp oil. And so that there was a lot of different things. As far as the progress you made, let's start from after the Arnold Classic Australia and talk about that brief month while you were clean but you were rebounding.
Yeah.
So this is we did just a hell week, and now the show's done. You came in second in your height division, which is the C class.
Yep.
Okay. And you weighed
205.
205.
What we organised was a phone call, and you basically said, okay, I want you to take 4 to 6 weeks, regroup, get yourself back to normal, make sure your health parameters are all checked. So we got a blood test, we got a heart scan, everything was good. And then during that time, you basically said, okay, I want you to do this training program, which was good because, to be honest, you didn't have to do that. Our coaching, or my payment for the coaching, only started after that 6 weeks.
Right.
Whereas with most of the people would say, well, no, you paid for my time during that whole period of time, so I would have lost 6 weeks, but you didn't do that, which was great. So you basically
when I wanted us to work together, I wanted you to be the best you could be.
Yeah.
So any advice that I could help you for that, I thought that it would be better for us, for both of us. For me, because then it would show the results you're going to make. But all in all, we were looking at a one-year project. Yeah.
So you had us do PCT, and that was purely just to see what, and I understand what you're doing, to see if I was healthy.
That's right.
Yeah,
because we just started working together. Yeah. We just got done with the show. You were already doing stuff before me, so I wanted to make sure you were.
Yeah. So I did the PCT for about 6 weeks. It was a combination of HCG and Clomid. When I got a blood test, everything came back fine. A little bit lower on the testosterone side, but that was to be expected.
Right.
And when I got the scan on the heart, that was fine. And then you put me on to, it was 3 to 4 days a week training, heavy style, Dorian Yates type training, drop set training.
High intensity.
Yeah, high intensity, yeah. Again, big shock, because then workouts for like 3-4 hours. But I was cool with it because I was only in the gym 3-4 days a week. It was fine. And then after that, that's when we began. Now, during that period of time, I usually, historically, I would lose a lot of muscle because I'd be on all this cycle and then I'd come off. I'd be listening, obviously, the likes of certain other individuals, and then I would inevitably lose the muscle that I gained.
Right.
With yourself, because we integrated heavy lifting and the high protein and a proper structured diet, and you basically just said eat, just keep on eating, eat as much as you possibly can without getting fat. Well, that's nigh on impossible when you're coming out of a competition and you've got no androgens or anything in you anymore. So I ate and ate and ate, and I managed to actually get some like really big strength gains, even though I wasn't on anything.
But the rebound from the minerals had a lot to do with it.
Yeah. And then I got in contact after when all that was done, and we started. So I went from 205 up to maybe 2 in the first 6 weeks, maybe 230. And then from there, that's when the hard work began. We had to climb to 255 after that.
That was the highest? It was 255? That was 260?
So it was 121 kilograms. I don't know what that is in pounds. Maybe it's 263, 265.
Yeah.
That's where I capped out.
And we rotated training cycles. We rotated gear protocol. We did it constantly. We were switching things, but it was based on when you started to just get a little bit stale, the same result. Yeah. And then we switched it.
Yeah, or you would say, look, you're starting to get a bit fat now, let's hold it. So we would just hold it, and then eventually your composition would change. It would essentially catch up.
You did cardio in the off-season?
I did a shitload of cardio in the off-season.
How was it?
It was good. I mean, we live in Melbourne, so we were very close to the beach. So usually on a Wednesday and a Sunday, that's the days that I have off with my wife. So we would go for an hour walk, and then it was.
Do you feel like it helped the quality of muscle you put on?
I feel like when you're underneath the squat rack, and for me, I've got a bit of an issue with my left knee because I can't go heavy, and I've got to do repetitions of 20 to 30. If your cardio is not there, you ain't going to get them reps.
Right.
So it feels for me that because I had the quality of cardio, I was able to lift the heavier weights. Same on rack pulls, same on the other big lifts as well.
And to go through the failure, it starts to really take out oxygen when you start going past failure. Yeah. And of all these, when we started to make our rotations and everything throughout the off season, how often did we communicate when I would tell you to do things?
Weekly.
Yeah. And you would arrange the calls through my website.
Yeah.
And I was available for you. My schedule was always open. It would tell you on the site.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes either I had to change it last minute because of clients or whatever, or maybe you had something, but it wasn't a big deal. It was very occasional, and it was usually the very next day that we would catch up. It was I never had to wait another week or anything like that.
And we did something that was different from your previous cycling before, which is what I call the mini breaks. Mm-hmm. So you want to just talk about the mini break real quick?
Well, I had it, as you know, when you were saying this, I was freaking out a little bit because I'm thinking, oh shit, I'm going to lose all this muscle. But then when you sat down, you actually explained to it that your body's only going to adapt to something if it has a new stimulus.
Right.
So it's almost like you have to relax. You're not even taking a step back. You're just chilling. Just relax for a second for you to go to the next step. So you would have us, depending on whether me and my wife, we travel quite a lot. So, for example, we went to Brazil. Mm-hmm. Brazil in was it Brazilian, Peru, for 4 weeks. So what I did was for 1 week I had completely off the gym, and then for about 2 to 3 weeks I just went light. I did circuit style training.
And while you were on vacation, you messaged me.
Yeah.
I remember we talked about the food there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I said, yeah, like, what do I eat? And you said, look, just have a relaxed approach. Try not to eat too much fats. Yeah. No, sorry, too much carbs.
Sugar.
And I wasn't on any gear or anything like that. And then when I came back, just pick up where you left off.
And it worked really well.
I hyper responded, yeah. I mean,
really well.
I was at a sticking point at, as I said, maybe it's about 255, and then I jumped up to 265 super quick.
And we didn't have to raise the dosage.
No.
Which was one of the things that was like, when you get to a certain point, you've been taking a certain milligram, and your body weight increases and your milligram weight increases. But then if you need to increase the milligram more because it's not working well, and your body weight hasn't increased, you need to take a break for maybe a week. And everyone gets so worried that, you know, oh, I can't take a week off in the cycle, and they go the opposite direction. They raise it up more, which then furthers the tolerance. Once the tolerance starts to set in, then you're really going backward. You really need to go back to the lower than the dose that works so that you can get some of it out of you.
Yeah.
And now you have a saturated point and a tolerance, and so then you have excessive amounts of substance in your body that you're having to filter out. It's not even working. It's just causing stress on you because you're going way above exceeding the dose that should be working. And so we take a week off, sometimes 3 days. There was a few times I remember when you were having some anxiety, just getting a little bit. It
was just the size I put on so quick. You get heavy breathing, you know, and eventually.
Even with the cardio.
Even with the cardio, I mean, you know, your engine's only this big, and all of a sudden you go from being a mini to a tank in the space of 6 months. And you're pressing, I mean, I went from rack pulling something like, you know, 400 pounds to 700 pounds in the space of 6 months. So your body just explodes. And eventually on the night, I mean, you just can't sleep.
Have you ever gained weight like that before?
No.
And we did something, you did something that was different. Now, you had taken a little bit of growth hormone before, right?
Mostly it was peptides, mostly in the past.
Okay. And I asked if you could get growth hormone, and I remember you telling me there was some generic stuff that was around, and I said, don't get it. And then you once I mentioned it, you really wanted to get it because you were like, well, now you really wanted it to be a part of the program, since the cat was out the bag. I already said, you know, can you get it? So you knew that I wanted you to have it, and then you found it. You were able to get real pharmaceutical grade Humatrope by Lilly. And, you know, I remember you were able to get enough of it, you know, more than what I said you needed to start with. You thought it was going to be, you showed me the pictures, and I said, this is the real one. And I asked you to mix it, the smell and the taste and all that stuff. And do you remember how it smells and it tastes?
Yeah, clinical. Yeah,
it's a pretty pungent.
Yeah.
And you were having, you're up, well, can we go more? Can we go more? And what would I tell you? No. And well, why?
It's just unnecessary.
It's unnecessary. Yeah. And I remember you were asking me a lot about insulin too. You know, should we take it? Should we do more? What did I tell you?
No.
And you had it. As much as you could use. But it didn't matter. Now, now that you've done it, you could talk a little bit about why I said it doesn't matter. It's not important. It doesn't work. And the fact that when we space it out with every meal, I mean, there's a purpose for that. A lot of people say that you shouldn't take growth hormone with insulin, and we did take it with insulin. And there's a lot of people that do insulin separately, you know, pre-workout with a lot of carbs. We didn't do that. You can go ahead and say what we did, and I'd like to know what your opinion is.